And so taking time at the beginning of any practice to honor the body will always give you a great start for the meditation. So now you might like to have a little stretch, just easing out any places that get knotted when you settle into stillness. We're not always so familiar with becoming still. We're more trained into our doing mode, action, movement. But this practice for holding space allows us really to come into that being mode, where we can feel what is moving through. And that brings us to our second practice for today's session. Again, taken from the course of communicating with compassion and clarity. And it invites us to move through 4 steps. So the first thing you'll do is to observe something that happened yesterday or maybe in the week that's gone, which felt uncomfortable or sad or difficult in some way. So this is really an honoring that we can turn towards difficulty, knowing that we are supported by the ground beneath, by this community of practitioners, by our body and our breath. And so step 1, we will simply observe what happened at that moment of difficulty. The second step will be to identify the feelings that came up. And the feeling may be a physical feeling like a tightness, a closing in, or an openness, an expansiveness, or an empowering sort of feeling. Or it may be an emotion. And I'll give us some prompts here. Once we've identified the feeling, then we drop into what was our need in that moment. And we all have these universal human needs, which really allow us to be fully human. We all have needs, all 7 billion of us, needs of connection, of well-being, needs of safety, empathy. And again, I'll give you some clues and cues so that you can get a sense in your body what the need was for you in that moment. And then the 4th stage of the practice is to make a request. So right now we'll make that request to ourselves. What do we need to honor? Do we need more time alone? Do we need more time in a company? And of course, by the end of our session, hopefully you will be clear about what you could do for yourself to take care of that difficult experience that you had. So let's begin. Finding our posture once again, all the points of contact with the surface beneath, whether you're sitting or lying down. Invite a gentle lengthening through the spine, but still allowing some soft movement. When you inhale, there may be a lifting in the chest, an expansion in the belly. And when you exhale, there may be a soft contraction. The body moving gently around the breath. And knowing that we're held here in this space, guided by my voice, supported by fellow practitioners, and of course supported by the earth below. Allowing your mind to turn back to something that happened yesterday or the week that's gone, where you noticed some difficulty arising. And seeing if you can go through the facts of what happened in your mind. Maybe words were said or actions that caused harm. either from the other or from you. And then we honor the very fact that when difficulties arise, feelings also accompany them. So get a sense of what feelings emerge from you. Maybe they were feelings around anger or impatience, agitation, maybe feelings of sadness or loneliness, discouragement or distress. Perhaps the feelings that arose for you were based in fear. You may have felt unsafe or insecure. Or perhaps you were feeling exhausted, weary, overwhelmed, or helpless. Or maybe there were feelings around confusion or embarrassment or skeptical in some way. Remembering that we don't judge feelings. They arise spontaneously. And the way to work most skillfully with them is to allow them to move through. They give us information about what's happening within us in any given situation. And the invitation in any meditation practice is to feel whatever you feel. You're held safely in this moment of stillness, knowing that you can do no harm. And having got a sense of what feelings arose for you at that time, now see if you can identify what your needs may have been. So difficult, uncomfortable feelings arise when our needs are not met. So the third step of our practice is to identify these universal human needs, these needs that actually make us human. They may have been needs for well-being, for connection, or for self-expression. Or going down a little deeper, maybe those needs were for sustenance, or safety, or order. One of the things as humans we find so difficult is when things are unpredictable. And of course, our world right now is completely unpredictable. So we have this need, this yearning for order, for calm, for predictability. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about making us feel safe. As humans as well, within our human family, we have these very strong needs for connection, for love, affection, support, for being nurtured. Also for empathy, for being understood, for being seen, for being heard. And we have needs about belonging. We need to know we're part of a particular family or community. A sense of fellowship or home, or the need to feel welcome. Once our safety needs are met and our needs for connection, then there's the need for self-expression, for being who we are. A need for freedom, perhaps, or adventure, or independence. We all have a need for joy and playfulness, for authenticity, and to find meaning or to achieve success, to discover new things, a need for learning. So from those suggestions, sense into when your body resonated. When I spoke a need, did something say, yes, that is my need, either in this moment or in the situation that happened that brought up difficult feelings? And many of us find it so difficult to identify feelings and needs. It's as if we don't have the vocabulary for that. Or we were brought up in families where our feelings and our needs weren't acknowledged. All of that, though, is in the past. So right now, in this moment, sensing what is here. What feelings are here right now? What needs do you have for tonight or for the day ahead? And the fourth step of this practice is to make a request of ourselves. How could you meet your own need once our practice together has finished? It's almost as if there are two different parts of ourself, the one that needs to be taken care of, and the one that has that capacity to take care. And so the younger, the more vulnerable part can actually ask our more adult, our more stable self, please, can you help me? Please, can we play today? Please, can we find someone to connect with? Please, can you make sure that I'm safe and warm? And what I've found in doing this practice regularly is that if I can attend to my own feelings and needs, then the capacity to care for the feelings and needs of others is unending. You know the metaphor of the teapots. We need to fill it up with tea, with hot water, and then of course we can give out without ever feeling depleted or used. And that is the whole benefit of our practice. If we take time, 30 minutes each week or a few minutes each day, to attend to what our body, our heart, our mind needs, then we can be in service to others. And we can actually find joy in supporting the feelings and the needs of others. So for the next 2 minutes, let's rest. No need to think about meditating, just resting in this moment. With the caregiver part of ourselves, taking care of the one that needs support right now. We all have this capacity. We have an indestructible essence. And we can tap into that. And sometimes we need to be reminded too that we all have a community that is so willing to support if we ask. If we are willing to show some vulnerability, then others are willing to step in. So it's almost like little nesting dolls. We have our vulnerable self in the middle, the self that can take care around it, and then our friends, our family, our community around that. And then, of course, around all of us, the earth itself, the vast sky, that is able to give us a sense of perspective at times of difficulty. So remembering those simple truths and hopefully taking them into the day ahead, or taking them into your sleep so that you can sleep deeply, fully resting. And now bringing our practice to a close with a deep inhale and maybe a sigh. And you may like to stretch. Maybe little wiggles with the fingers into the wrists, the elbows and the shoulders, all the structures that hold the heart.